So we had quite a bullish week for the stock market. S&P 500 closed about 4.59% in the green, QQQ 6.41%, and Bitcoin about 10.41%. So overall, it was a very green week in the stock market. We also have Nvidia up about 4.3%, Tesla 9.8% as well. So there was a lot of optimism this week, and it was mostly revolving around the tariff talk between Trump and China. So Trump claims that they are in negotiations right now with China regarding the trade deal, and China actually denies that. So the president says that Trump is actually kind of lying and they're not in any negotiations. So we don't actually know which party is telling the truth, but you can see that the stock market took it as Trump is telling the truth, he's not lying. So there's a lot of optimism that the trade tariffs would actually be resolved sooner rather than later, and we had a very bullish rally in stocks based off this optimism. So yeah, we have our Google over here that's up about 1.68%, and they also did beat their earnings as well. Their EPS, I think they beat it by about 39%. So we had a good earnings report this week as well, which actually also did drive stock prices higher for the week. So overall, the bullish earnings report, the favorable earnings report, and the optimism regarding the trade talks drove the markets higher for the week. So we also do have some bullish indicators that fired off over the course of the trading week. So we have this bread trust indicator over here that was fired off a couple of days ago and on April 23rd. And basically what this indicator is a kind of a momentum based indicator. So you can see the definition on the right side of the screen over here. It's basically tracking the number of stocks above their 10-day moving average. So when it goes from below 40% to above 61.5% in 10 trading days or less, this indicator is fired. And you can see that it has been present since about 1950, and we have quite a lot of data over here. So yeah, this looks like it's quite a reliable indicator. It's been present for very long, and we have a lot of sample data. And you can see that over the course of 6 months to about a year later, the returns have been actually positive on every single data point over here. So we actually do have kind of a 100% hit rate as of now, and the returns have actually been double digits or more on most of the occasions 1 year later. You can see that except for these 3 data points over here, the rest of the data has been double digit returns about 1 year later. So this is quite a bullish indicator that was fired off over the course of the week. So from a technical perspective right now, the bear market is actually kind of over. We did break above the key resistance at about 5,500 for the S&P 500. So this level over here was basically the previous floor of support that we had from the middle of March towards the announcement of the tariffs in the beginning of April. And you can see that once we had the tariff news, we broke down from the support, retested it as resistance, and we basically had this capitulation towards the 2021 all-time high. And we did have a bounce from that level, and we did initially retest this level over here on the 10th of April once we had the news that Trump would be pausing the tariffs, and we had a rejection. We sold off towards the downside. So we kind of formed a double bottom, and this week was quite a bullish week. We broke above that same level of resistance that previously rejected us, and we started to consolidate above it for a couple of 1 hour candles before we had the Friday closure. And the weekly candle did close out above the key level as well at about 5,500, and you can see that we had quite a strong bullish engulfing candle. Yeah, so I would say that since we reclaimed this level over here at about 5,500, the bear market is over right now in the immediate short term. And in the coming week, unless we get some kind of black swan event or some kind of crazy news about the tariffs, unless we get news like that, it's quite likely we will just trade sideways and towards the upside in the coming week. And the first key level to look out for would probably be about 5,700. So 5,700 was the previous high before we had the tariff news and the gap down towards the downside. So it's quite likely we will come up and retest this level over here in the coming week. So keep a lookout for about 5,700. And the key support is 5,500. If we do start to close daily candles, maybe towards Wednesday or Thursday below about 5,500 once again, it's quite likely that this could be a fake out, and we might actually come back down and fill in the gap over here at about 5,300. So that will be the analysis for the S&P 500. We are basically cautiously bullish. Keep a lookout for the 2 key levels over here. In the immediate short term, we also do have an uptrend of higher highs and higher lows on the daily time frame. We broke above the key resistance at about 5,500. So it's quite likely that we would trade towards the upside. in the coming week, and the invalidation point would be the key level at about 5,500. If we do start to trade below there for a couple of days, then this breakout would be invalidated, and we might have a short-term move back down to fill in the gap at about 5,300, maybe before giving another go towards the upside in the next week or in the following week. So yeah, that'll be the analysis for S&P 500 right now. And for QQQ, we have a much more bullish chart. We had the resistance at about 470 for the QQQ, and likewise this was also the previous floor of support, and you can see that we got almost a perfect retest over here as resistance. So the key level is about 468 for QQQ, and if you do break down from this level on a daily time frame and you start to close candles below it, then look out for the gap fill at about 448. My bias for QQQ is the same as for SPY. We'll probably just trade towards the upside, and the resistance to look out for would probably be the high over here before the tariff news at about 480. So that'll be the analysis for QQQ. And for Bitcoin right now, we do have the key resistance at about 95,000 to keep a lookout for. So you can see that this 95,000 was the previous floor of support that broke down towards the end of February, and in the beginning of March we did get the retest almost perfectly at the same level before we had this downtrend towards the downside. And you can see that on this impulse move up, we are experiencing resistance at the same level once again for the last couple of days. So keep a lookout for about 95,000. That will be the key level for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can reclaim about 95,000 and we can close a few daily candles above it, then it's quite likely that this entire downtrend over the last couple of months would be over. The next target would probably be 106,000 in the coming few weeks. So that'll be the analysis for Bitcoin. And if you do start to sell off towards the downside, and if you do start to stall from this level over here, the key support is 91,600, which we did actually retest on Thursday. So you can see this $91,600 level was the previous key support and resistance line in the starting of the year. If we do lose about 91,600 and if we close a few daily candles below it, then it's quite likely we would retrace the rest of the move, and the next key support would probably be, I would say, about $88,000 for Bitcoin. So that'll be the levels to look out for Bitcoin. And guys, my QQQ position is right now up about almost 11,300 USD. So if you saw the previous video, I was all in QQQ as I believed it had the best risk reward. So like I mentioned in the previous video, that the US stock market has always eventually returned back to the all-time high. So as long as you are not over leveraged or using too much margin, the risk reward in taking the trade at that point of time was pretty good. So I'm just going to continue to hold the same position until the all-time high is reached for QQQ, and maybe after that I will diversify into more ETFs or more stocks. So right now I still believe that this is the best risk reward play. Yeah, so this is not financial advice. Make sure you do your own research and buy the stocks and ETFs that you will believe would eventually recover back to their all-time high and beyond that as well. So I will continue to hold this position. If you guys are interested in updates about my portfolio, please do subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I'll try to update this every week if there's any kind of significant change. Alright guys, so that is pretty much it for this video. Not really much happened over the course of the week. We had the optimism regarding the trade tariff being resolved soon. So Trump mentioned that he was in negotiation talks with the president of China, and the Chinese president did actually deny this and say that it was false. So yeah, we just had some optimism regarding that, and also kind of a favorable earnings report that drove the market higher as well. So yeah, just keep a lookout for the levels that I mentioned in the technical analysis part of the video. I'm expecting a slow drift up towards those levels in the coming week, and also do keep a lookout for the invalidation levels as well. So that should be pretty much it for this video. If you guys liked it, please remember to subscribe to the channel, and also do let me know what you guys think. Please leave a comment down below as well. So that will be it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next video.